ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to another edition of AR Reacts. And we are myself, Mike Thomas, and Hamza Hanif. We're just going to quickly go over the events of last night because the dust has settled. Huge shock in the world of boxing. I don't think anyone ever would have predicted what happened last night. And if you did, and if you say you did, I don't believe you because you're lying.
I think if your name is Smith, or something like that, like then I'll believe you.
not even any of the Smith brothers or Smith family, because I watched interviews this morning. They all thought they said on interview, look, I thought he was going to win on points, but I'd be lying if I said he'd get the knockout within 4 rounds.
To be honest, even I think there was even times where Smith was like, you know, like he's really durable. He's got the chin of his dad. So there was this whole sort of aura around Eubank, like he couldn't be hurt. Like you heard Smith say it several times. Oh, you can hurt him to the body, but you can't hurt him to the chin. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like.
It's just a weird thing to think that somebody can't get hurt. Like, of course he can get hurt.
Man, it's 10-ounce gloves, man. You can get hurt, as Liam Smith proved last night. You can get very badly hurt very quickly.
It's just, I couldn't believe it happened. I watched the fight like 5 times. I watched it back and I watched the highlights like 5 times because I just couldn't believe that happened. But you were actually there in Manchester.
Yeah. It was a great event, man. It was like, you know, like, man, there was so many Scousers out. Like it was a complete home crowd for Liam Smith, and because there was so many Scousers in the building, it turned into like such a great atmosphere. You know what I mean?
They know how to party.
Yeah, man. And then they were singing songs all night, chanting. There was not very many Eubank fans in the house, so he came out to a completely hostile crowd. You know what I mean?
Really?
But yeah, it was a great event, man. It was
Where were the rainbow? Where were the rainbow flags and stuff? Nobody out there with rainbows.
There wasn't very many of them. I didn't spot very many of them in the arena, to be honest.
Okay.
We were actually sat behind. We were ringside. Very luckily, we had some very good seats, and we were sat behind some of the only Eubank fans in the building, and it was like this was like this family. I don't know if they knew him or something. I don't know who they were. I don't know if they were related or what, but honestly, when he got knocked out, the kid was absolutely crushed. He was like, his face was in his eyes. He was devastated. I was like, yep, that's what happens. That's what happens.
Hey, I couldn't believe it. And we kind of talked about this before, and in terms of the reasons why he lost that fight, there's one or two rumors. There's one or two rumors, and we'll talk about the obvious one that, you know, we both sort of went over, but there was 1 or 2 rumors that maybe he'd had some heavy sparring before the fight and he'd been knocked out, or, you know, because you heard Liam say post-fight that he said he was terrified of getting hit and he was worried, he was getting scared every time. I don't know if that was just his bravado, him saying that, but he was a bit cagey, that he was just like, he didn't want to get hit. So maybe he had some kind of injury, or maybe he had been hurt in sparring before the fight. But the main thing that seemed to be obvious, and like you say, was the weight difference, which I didn't think was going to be a factor, because he normally weighs at like 168, and what was this, 160? So to me, I couldn't see why that would be a problem, but you're telling me he looked really drained when he came in.
Yeah, he looked really tight at the weight, which it's really bizarre, because he looked in fantastic shape. Like he put up a picture on Instagram, and he just looks like cut to pieces. He just looks fantastic. But when he walked out, I was watching on the big screen as he was kind of like walking towards you know, the entrance ramp, and I remember he looked. He had these red rings around his eyes, and I remember thinking, like, wow, he looks like, funny enough, it looked like he'd been crying or something. And I remember thinking, I wonder if that's just a lighting or his eyes look that red. And when I watched the fight back this morning, I saw those rings around his eyes again, that he was weight trained. He didn't make the weight, and as well as he looked aesthetically like he did. So there's a theory around this, right, where because he's used to weighing in out, there's two things that I think have happened here. He's just had the Conor Ben weigh in, where he actually did weigh in for that fight, even though it got called off. And I think that might have slightly impacted his ability to make weight comfortably this time. Or, you know, he's used to weighing in at 168, and he's just fucked up the weight, you know, there's no other way around it. But he didn't look good at the weight. He didn't look very mobile in the ring. He didn't look very fluid. And he every time they sort of engaged, he looked like he was being hurt. Like, he looked like uncomfortable, not being hurt, but he looked like he was uncomfortable in there. He didn't look very good at all, you know. He lost both rounds. So he lost the first, he lost the second, and there's an argument that he won the third, but really he just did it. He landed some good uppercuts at the end of the third, and that was pretty much it. And then he got knocked out in the fourth round. So he didn't really do very much, and he didn't look very good either. So the only thing I can think of is, like you say, he was injured or he was weight drained, you know?
Yeah. Well, I was looking at a poll before the fight as well. It was like 1,000 people, you know, on it, and nobody. And it was like, how do you think this fight's going to go? Nobody.
Such an upset, man. Such an upset.
Nobody predicted a KO, and nobody predicted it would last 4 rounds. Everyone thought the fight would be 12 rounds at least, or a late stoppage.
I thought there was a chance that Liam Smith could outbox him, because he has got a very good boxing pedigree. And I thought, you know, listen, Eubank can be a bit wild at times. And if Eubank doesn't get him out of there in the early stages, he might, you know, eke out a points victory. But he dominated him. You know, he absolutely dominated him. And I know Eubank put out a message on Instagram this morning to say he caught me with a good shot, and it was a very good shot. It was it was probably one of the best uppercuts.
Were you
I've
in that corner?
Were
you on the other side? Which side were you on? The side?
I was on the other side. I was on the same side of the ring where he got crumpled, but I was on the other side. So I had a pretty good view of it. It was a very good shot.
Because you saw his head went visibly back, like, you know, when somebody's hurt because their natural body just kind of had a convulsion. His head just went back. So I was like,
it was a very, very good shot.
Really good there.
And do you know what it is? Despite, I think, you know, you can say what you want about Eubank, but, you know, it was a very, very good shot, and he showed a lot of heart to get up from it, you know, because that wasn't the shot that finished him off. He got up, he staggered towards the referee. The referee kind of let it continue at that point, and then he got hit a few more times and it was over. But he showed a lot of courage to get up from that shot.
Yeah, you saw the lump on his
his face came.
And the thing is as well, mate, is you know, Roy Jones Jr. afterwards was saying, look, you know, they were saying, did you think he got up too quickly? And it's like, yeah, of course, but if you've never been knocked down before, you're not gonna know, because he's never been knocked down like that before. One of Liam Smith's guys actually pushed him away, because there was
I seen that.
When he won, when the referee waved it off, all of Liam's guys ran in, and one of Liam's guys was actually the guy that was like holding Eubank away.
I think he knew. I think that guy knew that, you know, this guy's badly hurt right now. He doesn't really know where he's at, you know. He's fighting, he's on instinct. He looked like he was a bit kind of like on instinct almost, just kind of like ignoring the referee, trying to run around him. And, you know, I don't think he really knew where he was at that point. He'd been hit pretty hard. I mean,
but that is a huge win for Liam Smith, and you know,
massive.
Definitely raised his profile across America. So a lot of I know there was a lot of YouTube coverage of that fight, a lot of live streams. A lot of people obviously thought Eubank was going to win. Nobody expected that. I think I don't know who he's going to fight, and I don't know where he's going to go from here, but it's definitely like his best.
Well, Eubank has a rematch clause. I mean, whether he will trigger it or not, I don't know, because I don't think he should take it, because I'll be honest with you, it was not a close fight. I think he came out today to Sky News or something like that, and he said, oh, I was dominating the fight until that happened. No, you weren't. You absolutely were not dominating that fight. Like, you may have won one round, and that's, like I say, that's like a yeah, did you win it or did you not? But you definitely lost the first 2 rounds and you got absolutely poleaxed in the fourth. So you were not dominating that fight. And yeah, I think that's a tough matchup for him. And I don't know if he goes back up to super middleweight. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't think he should retire. You know,
Yeah, you
I think he
can't
should have
retire
a
off
couple
that.
more. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he should have a couple more fights at possibly a lower level and sort of see where he's at. But
Mm.
I think the weight was an issue. I don't know if it's because he can't make middleweight anymore or because the Conor Benn situation. You know, I don't know.
Well, George Groves was talking about, and obviously he's a huge middleweight, and he's always struggled with weight and stuff. And he was saying how obviously when you're cutting weight that much, how much it diminishes you in terms of your durability and your
Yeah,
power and everything else.
punch
Um,
resistance is one of the
Punch
things that,
resistance as well. Yeah,
yeah,
no, amazing, unbelievable, a massive shock. Um, but yeah, you
great
said,
performance by Liam Smith, man.
uh,
Great performance.
did you get to see much of the undercard? You saw Joseph Parker, the undercard as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So unfortunately, I got in a bit late and I missed the Fraser Clark fight. But
Yeah, I
I
think
think
that wasn't a great fight. I don't think it was brilliant
yeah,
either.
yeah. But I seen all of the other fights. And I have to say, Joe Parker's fight was really intense. I haven't had a chance to watch it back, so I don't know what it looked like on TV. But
Mhm.
ringside, it seemed to be a really exciting fight.
It was
Um,
exciting. I was just disappointed because I think as well with cruiserweights, it's like Usyk and like Holyfield, time and time again, they're quick. They're naturally a bit more faster, so they do give heavyweights a bit of a go. But you just expect the heavyweight to dominate and show his authority, but he didn't really do that. And also,
yeah,
the size difference wasn't that different, to be honest. I thought Joe
yeah.
Parker was going to be a lot bigger, and he really wasn't. You know what I mean? They looked
They
kind of
looked
similar,
they looked quite similar up close
height
as
wise.
well.
Yeah,
And I'm not gonna lie, like that Jack Massey was a tough guy though because
yeah,
Parker hit him with some big shots, especially when he had him across against the ropes.
yeah.
But he
He was
wasn't he
definitely
wasn't giving
game.
up.
He was
Yeah, he
definitely
wasn't
game,
giving
and
up, that guy.
he came for the fight, and I saw an interview with him a few weeks before, and he was saying, this is the biggest fight of my career. So he obviously trained really hard and gave it his all, and it was a great
I think you
performance.
could tell as well. You could tell because it was 10 hard rounds for Parker. They actually had an after party at the hotel that we were staying at as well, so that was pretty cool because they all kind of piled into the bar after, and it was it
Mm.
was it was really mad because it was like you're seeing Parker like you just go 10 rounds and then you see him sink 10 pints and you're like,
Yeah, should have bought him a pint. Should have gone over and given him a drink, mate.
do you know what it is? There was a lot of people around him, and I kind of I like to stay in the background a little
Yeah,
bit, you
yeah.
know?
Don't want to bother people. I know what you mean. It's like when
Yeah,
I just went to the World Cup and I saw, I don't know if you'll know who this is, but he's called Carlos Valderrama. He's like a very famous Colombian football player with
I know who
big,
he is. Yeah, yeah,
he had
yeah,
a big
yeah,
blonde afro. He had like a massive
yeah,
blonde afro, right? And he was just chilling in the lobby, and he was about to do some TV work for like El Mundo, the Mexican TV show or whatever. And he
yeah.
was just chilling in the hotel lobby, and I wanted to go and speak to him and just get a picture with him, but then I thought to myself, there's so many people bothering him that I just thought, you know what,
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna like bother him.
Because of I think the hotel that we were staying at was
Mhm.
like sort of popular with the fighters because I also had another experience, weirdly enough. Me and my girlfriend were in the lift and Roy Jones walked in
Yeah,
and literally
nice.
she did not recognize him at all because
Uh-huh.
obviously, you know, and my face, like he knew straight away that I recognized him, but I stayed composed and we actually had a little chat, like we had like a little funny interaction, like a back and forth.
Yeah,
And that was it. You know, I didn't ask for his picture or anything. I kind of regret it now a little bit because I was like,
yeah,
shit,
yeah.
I'm probably
That
I'm never gonna see Roy Jones again.
I think you might do. You might do. We might go to another Eubank fight. You never know. But here's the
I
thing:
hope
like, if he's
so.
still his trainer, here's the thing, though. It's like you've got to pick the moment as well, and just like you've got to be able to read the room. Do you know what I mean? If people aren't bothered, if they're by themselves, they might not mind. It's just when I don't like it when people are getting hounded by other people. Do you know what I mean? And then I won't love
Yeah,
it. Well, we've got some more fights coming up as well. A huge fight just got announced between Joseph Joe Joyce and my favorite Chinese man of all time, Big Bang Jr.
yes, yeah. I can't wait for that fight. Definitely,
excited for that.
definitely
That's
can't wait
just
for that
been
fight.
confirmed in
And I
April.
love Joe Joyce's attitude as well. I love how he doesn't wait for anybody. You know, he's straight in there with another top 15 heavyweight, just staying active, waiting for these big, like, you know, these elite heavyweights to settle their differences, and then he can step right in. So yeah, that's great.
Great fight. Also, really hope that this Tyson Fury Usyk fight gets confirmed, because it seems a bit iffy.
We've got a huge fight coming up next week as well that we'll be covering. We've got Anthony Yard versus
That's right.
Arthur Beterbiev. So
Yeah,
that's
we're
going to
going to
be
do a
another big
feature
fight in
on
London.
absolutely, mate. We'll do a feature on Anthony Yard and Beterbiev. All right, mate. Well, that was good chat. Another round reacts, and we'll be back for the Yard versus Beterbiev.